Wait, you can't. You have to start over because this is my face.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Can you just cut me in? He'll cut
He'll
all
cut
that
it
out.
out.
Edits.
He's got you.
Are we close?
Yeah, kind
Okay.
of. No.
Now I'm a podcaster. But yeah, I was the star.
And I'm just a co-star.
World of difference.
Also rude, right?
That's very rude.
I'm going to put it in every review I have moving forward.
Dang it! I knew it! It's tough. Welcome back to another episode of the Canokla Chatter.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Tim.
And today we sat down with Yazmin. She is the CEO of the Legacy Regional Foundation. And we talked to her about why this is so important for our rural communities and what it does and how you can contribute.
I never knew there were so many options to give back to the communities we serve, so stay tuned to see how you can. Well, thank you for being here with us today. If you could take a moment and just tell us a little about yourself, who you are, and what your role is.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be here today.
You're
it's
welcome.
really a
Yes.
pleasure
Thanks for being
to
here.
spend some time with you this morning. My name's Yazmin Wood, and I currently have the privilege of serving as the CEO of Legacy Regional Community Foundation. Our offices are located in Winfield, but we're a regional foundation, so I'm all over the place. We work throughout Kelly County and Sumner County. We have work that we do here in Caldwell, and Belle Plaine Community Foundation is an affiliate underneath us.
Oh, okay.
And we work in Sumner, already shared Sumner, Chautauqua, and Elk as well. But we're not limited by any kinds of boundaries. So there's work that we will do in supporting some interests that one of our donors has in Clearwater, or in places beyond. So I came to this role in June of 2016 after serving as the Chamber of Commerce Director in Arkansas City, and then spending some time being a stay-at-home mom and working for my husband. He was a chiropractor in Ark City, and he fired me 3 times.
Rude.
So I know,
Wow.
right? So, there were other jobs in between. I worked for the city of Ark City for a period of time, but I came meaning to Kansas from Seattle, Washington. I grew up out there. I was a professional dancer, which is where I met my husband when we were both working together on a cruise ship. He was a drummer in the show band, and just kind of made our way after our contracts were up there.
How long were you with the Ark City Chamber?
I was there for almost 10 years.
Wow.
So in various roles, I started out doing Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then I was an administrative assistant, and I was then hired to be the president. So I returned to school and got my MBA.
Oh, okay.
To give me a little bit more credence with those folks.
Very nice.
But it's been great.
So what does your day-to-day look like? Does it, depending on the project or the community, or is there some stability in there?
There is no stability there. Let's just be absolutely frank about that. No, we work to be really agile at the Community Foundation. Mostly it's about really being present in the community and understanding what is going on and what the impact and the factors are that are forces on the things that are critical needs in the community. We really focus there. We think a lot about PSC, so policy, systems, and environment. One of the beauties about working in the Community Foundation is that we get to work across Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So there are the humanitarian pieces that we work with our nonprofit partners to address and support. We get to work in the arts. We get to work with parks. We get to work with health systems. We get to work with, leadership, just creating more leadership. So it's every day's a new day. There's not a regular or structure.
How does Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of guide what you do?
A number of years ago, when we first started at Legacy Foundation, I was really struggling to understand what it is that a community foundation does and how do we provide value to our donors and to our community that we serve. And so in that time, I spent a lot of energy talking with other community leaders about the needs of the community And one of the things that we talked most about was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If people are not able to know that they have safe, affordable, weather-tight housing, if they don't have food security, if they don't have the education and the job and the economic security that they need, it's really hard to grow to self-actualization. We've really come to understand, too, that the social determinants of health are a really great way to think about and talk about what needs to happen in our communities. Because it's not just a ladder, like Maslow said. It is really about the integration of all of that work. Mm-hmm. And so, we need to not think about any one piece of the community, but all of the pieces and how they work together. We have some opportunities to continue to do that work when we invest in leadership and invest in the infrastructure and invest in the systems that help people in our communities.
And I don't know if they all start the same way. How does a regional or a community foundation start?
Our community foundation started because one gentleman in Winfield saw that it was working in other communities. I don't remember when it started, well over 100 years ago. The first one was founded in Cleveland. From there, it spread piece by piece across the nation just to be like a community chest or, some kind of a reserve for a community and that pot of money to be able to be used over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So in the case of Legacy Foundation, there was a man, his name was Robert Storbeck, and he got some other community leaders together and said, I think this sounds like a good idea for other places. It's working really well. I think we need that here. And the people that were the founders then incorporated in 1996 in Winfield, felt like how Winfield went was how the surrounding community went, and how the surrounding communities went was also how Winfield did. And so they wanted to make sure that they were impacting more than just their singular community, but really talking about how all of us in this South Central region are integrated and impact one another.
Kudos to them for realizing that, because we really do. When one community does well or has something new, it benefits all of the surrounding areas. So I'm glad that it started regionally and it didn't have to be swayed that way, or
right.
It probably would have slowed it down.
It's been really incredible. Two of the people that were original incorporators now, almost 30 years ago, are still working with Legacy today. So I can get that origination story and really understand how it was, meant to be. Yeah. And we had a strategic planning session with the board of directors, and we brought in those champions that had been board members in the past, which included those two incorporators and a few other people that had been there nearly the 30 years, and had a moment when we had the four of them sit together and just have a conversation, similar to a podcast, about what it is that their hopes and dreams were for the foundation at that time. And then reversely, the newest board members did the same thing. And really that meeting of how Legacy has grown to exceed the dreams they thought possible, the incorporators did, and how important it was for those new board members really to understand, too, what the meaning was from the beginning, and to see then how we've grown and think about the possibilities. If we can do that, I mean, when we started Legacy Foundation, it was only the incorporators gave founders gifts that equaled $2,500.
That's what it started with.
That's what it started with.
Wow.
Yeah. And at our last board meeting, we're now over $14 million in assets.
Wow.
And that will grow by the end of the year.
Is this all by donation, or just strictly that, or what brings in the funds that you guys use?
Right. So primarily it's donation.
Okay.
And primarily it's donation by individuals, but not entirely. For the most part, it has been strategic investment of the endowed funds that we hold that has helped it to grow, as well as the continuing donations. We've had donations from corporations. We've had donations from nonprofit organizations.
Cooperatives?
Oh.
Yes. We've had donations from private individuals, and all of it is what makes Legacy Foundation possible and the work that we do better.
You know how people say, oh, I can only have like $5.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to make a big difference. Like, can you touch on that? And just like, I feel like that's the biggest thing that holds people back on donating to foundations or anything.
Right.
But the small stuff helps it
Absolutely.
tremendously.
Absolutely. Well, we have some great opportunities, like as a community foundation, that maybe other agencies don't think about. And where an endowment with Legacy Foundation can be started with $5,000, which is very approachable. It doesn't even have to come in all at once. We have what we call an acorn fund. And so people can give to it and then give to it a little bit more and give it to a little bit more until it reaches that threshold. But beyond that, I think of like the widow's mite, that people give what they can give according to their means, and the opportunities that brings. We had, for the last several years, had a match opportunity taking place in August. Vision Caldwell took part in that. We have people that will come into our office and look at the list and hand us a $10 bill and add to the pot of money that is being given toward that match. And so that $10 every time is $10 that we're able to leverage against something that someone else has given and bring more to the community. Between our nonprofit organizations that were involved in the Great Give, that match opportunity, we raised over $100,000, which meant that we leveraged $100,000 from a private foundation, and we're able to put all of that to work. So that $10 made a difference.
Yeah.
And working with Legacy Foundation means that people have the opportunity for tax deductibility to the full extent of the law, because we are a 501c3. But that is not often what drives people to be giving.
So Vision Caldwell is Caldwell's community foundation
Fund.
community fund that lives at Legacy.
Right.
Correct?
Right. And that's what enables you to do some of the work in Caldwell for the benefit of Caldwell.
Do you feel like your job is sometimes education both ways for the people who are giving and for the people who in the community who can give small donations at times like that versus the larger donors, or somebody who has money and they know they want it to go somewhere, but they aren't sure, or even educating them on what exactly their money can do at a foundation?
Yeah, it absolutely is education all the way around. And I like to really approach that from the way of having a conversation, just a meaningful conversation about what do you care about? How is it that we can help those philanthropic dreams to be true? And if you have means, or if you have a group of people that want to come together and make something happen, then we can help you. Sometimes people, if they have a lot of wealth, will create their own private foundation. You can actually do that as a donor advised fund inside of the community foundation. But I really think that the power of the community foundation is in those individuals giving. We have some collected funds, so some, they call them field of interest funds, where people, it's like, we care about kids in our community. We want to give to children's programs. And it means they don't have to start their own fund. They don't have to have a lot of money, but they can give right there to that fund and with others make a difference. And then our grants committee will give direction to that, and the board of directors then says, yes, do that. And so again, together we can make things happen, and people can apply to that. So it's always about that education of what can my gift do, and what are you going to do to grow that and create impact, and how are those decisions going to be made?
I feel like the Legacy Community Foundation also asks, or maybe helps educate, what should it do? Because you have such a pulse on the regional community needs that, yes, someone might have a special interest, and that interest is definitely worthy, but maybe they just need a little help in seeing, like, what else could it do? What are these big things, these big needs that could make such a lasting impact versus just one donation to one organization one time?
And that's where it's really about following the donor's heart, helping them to understand the power of their decisions and what can be done, because I would never ask someone who wants to give to not give to something. But if you want it to be something that's going to make a greater impact, that's really going to, touch at some of the root causes of issues in our community, or really, champion change, then I think that working together and thinking about strategically what it is. And so a lot of times my job is really to ask questions. Not unlike you. And so with that, then, it comes to a point of discovery and learning. And, it's been really, really powerful. Anyone that wants to, make sure that their giving is staying in our area and that they can really direct that toward what they care most about, we're happy to work with them.
I really like that because, like, just for me, I'm indecisive. I know, like, what I would want my money to go to, but then, like, if I sat down and you, like, laid out all of these options, I'd be like, oh my God, like, so I think that's great. I mean, you're still giving us the choice, or giving them the choice, but still, it's going to what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
None of the individual gifts are necessarily really large. There's something that, that they just give on a each paycheck. So whether it's biweekly or monthly basis, and comes to us and we distribute, it all adds up.
What is an endowment? And can you kind of talk about that structure?
Yeah. So an endowment is an individual fund where the principal is never spent. So the gifts that come to it are not spent. They are held in reserve. We invest the money, and it's that growth off of that investment that then becomes available to be given out in grants. So if you were to give, say, that $5,000 gift, then we would give it and we invest it, we grow it, and then 5% of the 16-quarter rolling average of the fair market value becomes available to be expended and given out as grants or scholarships. But the money that you originally give is there for perpetuity. It's something
I knew you were going to say perpetuity.
You knew that was going to come in at some
endowment
point.
Perpetuity.
Yeah.
I was going to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the way that, again, some donors are like, I want my money to be used right now. And others are like, I want to make sure that it's going to be there for the future, because, we have a big transfer of wealth that's going on in our state, in our region, in our country. And that transfer of wealth is making a difference as to what's available in any individual community for charitable projects and to make important things happen. So with that balance is how I like to work with our donors. Like, okay, you want to make some things happen now? Let's make that happen. And then what do you care about that you really want to make sure continues into the future? Mm-hmm. Or how much do you care about the place that you live or the place that you used to call home, that you want to make sure that they can think about and address any kinds of challenges that might come up in the future? Because we don't know. There are a lot of things that we can't anticipate. And so making sure that we're able to be flexible and agile in that, and that we have the resources to direct, is really important.
I'm so glad you're here and talking about this because we do, just in our community alone, and I know this is the same in a lot of our rural communities, we do have people that love and care for these areas and want to give back. And I don't know, because it wasn't my first, it wasn't in my brain to say I could just contact Legacy and ask what is already set up. It doesn't have to go to, they might only be thinking of one organization in Caldwell that they have been associated with or knew in the past, but they could find a lot of local resources or ways to give through legacy.
Absolutely. Well, and again, just having a fund for the future of Caldwell, to know that it's unrestricted or it's designated for this place.
Which is Vision Caldwell, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This place-based philanthropy, that people could give to that and then trust that the decisions will be made to help continue and better Caldwell. Balancing that, how do we look forward toward the future and what the needs might be and address today and ensure what we care most about is that place that we have that conversation around. How do we really think about what we endow?
I wonder, back to that conversation that the founders had, or those original board members, you said it exceeded their expectations, but I wonder if when they sat back thinking 30 years from now or 50 years from now, we may not know the needs, but I know this is going to be done. I know this is, and if you only are invested in buggy whips, then you'll never be able to, because there's no way to know if something will be solved or if something will come up in that direction. You don't have the freedom to move with the times.
Unless you're thoughtful about how you give and how you set things up. I had a donor that I worked with that was very, very concerned about Alzheimer's disease and wanting to give to, help that, both in treatment and cure. And so I said, well, when we solve that, because we're establishing this for perpetuity. So when we solve that, then what? So we had that larger conversation about that there, even if Alzheimer's disease or when Alzheimer's disease is addressed, that there would probably be other mental health issues. Really making sure that it's if then, if this, then this. If this, then this, in that broader sense, so that you're, getting that whole train of thought and that whole understanding. So asking those questions now has been important, and really trying to help anchor the thought process in that, but being able to know and be creative and think about the possibilities. So when we get this right, then what? And what else? And next. So it's a yes and always.
Since we started this conversation a lot at CanOkla, and our board has been discussing that, learned a new word, perpetuity.
Yes.
And now there's just something about it that really makes me want to keep saying it. But that long-term mindset, those conversations that you have, those are something that we're really excited about at CanOkla and that we've had to have. Because a lot of times when we think about the future, I can think about my grandkids, or I can think about 3 generations from now, but perpetuity is forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, truly thinking, even just thinking beyond, like you said, you have maybe experienced your grandparents, and maybe if you're fortunate, like I was, your great-grandparents. And so you can see those generations together. And so thinking forward that far feels okay. But when you start thinking about 7 generations forward and what that looks like. And when I think about CanOkla, I also think about similarly where you've come, what you started out as a telephone company. And how it's moved into this digital medium that we have now, and fiber, the way that you're, just spreading to all of our rural communities. Opportunity, because when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs way back in the beginning of our conversation today, that is a part of it. That opportunity that you bring for that connectivity so that people can know the news, can be connected with workforce opportunities, working remotely, can have the education opportunities. That is huge. And so what's next? You're already doing that as a company. What's next? But for your communities that you've been serving so generously for all of these years, what's next for them? And where are those challenges? And so investing in the Forever Fund, like your board of directors has in thinking forward to not knowing what the answer is going to be, but making sure that the resources are there so that the people who will be living in those times will have that chance and that foot up and that, that agility to address the needs then.
What would be a good first step for those listening that want to help, being just a donor, partner, any of that?
I think that their best first step is to give me a call. Call the foundation and just say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I'm curious about, or I'd kind of like to do this, but I don't know what to do next. And we have needs. We have needs for volunteers. We have needs for board members. We have needs for donors. We have needs for nonprofit organizations. We have needs for connectors. We need people like you who go out and talk about, hey, this is what I learned today, or did you know this about the community foundation? Or you're in a meeting, or you're, sitting around the dining room table with your friends and your family, and they're talking about something they care about. And it's like, well, have we thought about talking to Community Foundation and seeing what's going on if they're looking for more information? And I think just call.
Yeah, that's an easy first step.
Yeah.
And remember, it started with just a few people that donated $2,500, or people that help keep it going just even once a year, every August, with what little amount they have or they're comfortable with for your matching.
I mean, just going from 2,500 to 14 million.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Absolutely. And it is about, everyone has a piece and everyone creates an impact. And, we talk sometimes, even just when you see a stranger and you smile, how you can make a difference, or saying hello, helping people to be seen makes a big difference in a person's life. A gift of any size is appreciated and put with others and makes things happen. Legacy, when we went through our strategic planning a year and a half ago, really took a deep look at not only our vision, but our mission. And we have really distilled it down to 3 words: give, grow, grant. So if you can't remember anything else after we leave today, think about community foundations: give, grow, grant. Donors give, donors of any kind, any size, anywhere. I'll come back to that. Any size, anywhere, give. The foundation invests that money, helps it to grow, and then we give it out in grants and scholarships. So give, grow, grant. We have a fund that was started. It's called the Shannon Seton Memorial Fund. And Shannon passed from breast cancer a number of years ago, and her children were very small at the time. And they had a lemonade stand. And they brought in what they raised with their lemonade stand and started a fund. Now, Daddy helped too, and a lot of friends helped, but we're able to provide some support, some relief for families who have someone suffering from a diagnosis of cancer. Everyone has a place. And we work really, really diligently to try to make sure that everyone feels welcome to be a part of all of our community and Answers.
Very nice.
Thank you for such a beautiful message.
That was a great
to
closing. Yeah, I loved it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me to be here today and share our message.